Right now, however, we open this hour in Cleveland, where Deshaun Watson was on the practice field yesterday, and today, for the very first time since mid-August, he was on the podium. He did not look backwards. He only looked forward. As a matter of fact, he only wanted to take football questions ahead of the Browns game in Houston on Sunday.
I understand that you guys have, a lot of questions, but with my legal team and my clinical team, there's only football questions that I can really address at this time. And I also want to thank, most importantly, Jacoby, the big brother he's been to me and everyone in that locker room. The passion, the grit, the leadership he has shown these past weeks. Everyone has seen it. I mean, he's the ultimate guy that everyone wants to, follow. So he's been awesome for me. Our relationship has been great. The bond has been great, and we're going to continue to grow from there and help win some more football games for the Cleveland Browns. So I'm open to answer any football questions.
Tom?
Deshaun, part of your agreement with the league was to undergo counseling and therapy while you were away. What did you learn about yourself during that time, and how do you apply that to now and going forward?
I respect your question, I understand, but that's more in that phase of clinical and legal stuff, and I've been advised to stay away from that and keep that personal.
Deshaun, here's a football question.
Ed,
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna call.
Oh, you are.
people.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
Go ahead, Tony.
Deshaun, how do you feel about playing your first game in Houston?
I'm excited. I'm excited to just play football in general, in front of Cleveland Browns fans, but also in front of some of the Houston Texans fans. I respect the whole organization of the Houston Texans. I respect the McNair family. I respect everyone that was there that drafted me in 2017. There's been great memories, fun memories. I still have a home in Houston. I still have friends and family that's still in Houston. The relationships are still there. Some of the players on the team, I played with are seen, come up from, maybe practice squad or from injuries. So, I'm excited to get in front of all those fans. I have so much love for the city of Houston and H-Town, and everyone in that city pretty much knows that. So I'm excited to do that. But, the most important thing is, I'm excited to be in front of the Cleveland Browns fans for sure.
Ed, go ahead.
Oh, okay. This is a football question. It also ties into some of the other stuff, but it's football related. So, what do you say to fans who might still believe, after all this happened, that Deshaun Watson should not be the face of an NFL franchise? What do you say to those folks?
Like I said, I'm focusing on football. That's my main focus is football and preparing to be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns so I can execute the game plan to try to get a win this Sunday.
Scott, you
Hey, Deshaun, was it important to you to come back for this Texans game when you agreed to that settlement?
No, I was just trying to, whatever I can do to play football in 2022. So, most of the settlement stuff with the NFL was mostly my agency and legal team. I had no control. My main focus was doing everything I need to do so I can play this year.
And what do you think the reaction or atmosphere will be like?
I'm not sure. My main focus is locked in on the game plan and trying to execute and make sure that I'm keeping the standard for the Cleveland Browns so we can try to win.
And the standard is right now they're a 4-win team, right on the fringe, I think you could say, of the playoff race. Obviously, 5-7 would look a heck of a lot better this week. James Palmer was there in Cleveland. Mark Ross with me as well. There's a lot to unpack there. Let's keep it to the football, James, at least for now. What has Deshaun Watson been doing these last 11 weeks to try to get ready for this thing on Sunday?
Andrew, you mentioned trying to get ready for this thing on Sunday. Well, most of the guys we've talked to over the last 2 days have said, yes, there's more buzz with Deshaun Watson back at practice. There's more media here in Cleveland because of everything that's gone on, but they've all said it's been a very seamless transition because of what Deshaun Watson has done in the 11 games that he's been away. He watched a lot of football, watched guys like Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, but also studying a lot of defensive schemes, studying a lot of the offensive system and schemes that they run here with Kevin Stefanski. Actually asked for cut-ups of his wide receivers like Amari Cooper when he had time with the Raiders or the Cowboys to study those guys and how they like the football and how they operate. Donovan Peoples-Jones told me today that he's had a lot of conversations with Deshaun Watson once he was allowed back in the building on October 10th and allowed in those meetings about how they operate in scramble drills, how he wants the football in certain instances. And once he was allowed back in those meetings over the last few weeks, he's tried to address his teammates, his receivers, his skill guys the same way Jacoby Brissett has to try to make this a very seamless operation between the two. And it seems to be the case this week. Obviously, a game is different. Obviously, when they hit the field on Sunday, it's different. But throughout this week, they've seemed to think it's been very seamless.
Okay, so we have a quarterback who won a game last week who his teammates love in Jacoby Brissett, who now steps back. Mark Ross and Deshaun Watson steps in. It didn't really look good in the preseason. Training camp, mixed reviews. It's been 700 days since he played a regular season game. What do you expect?
I'm going to focus on football, Andrew, and execute this segment here and talk about Deshaun Watson in his prime as a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, undisputed to his talent that he has. But that is a long time to not actually play in a football game. And when you always hear about practice versus the game and it changes, what changes? Mostly it's the speed and the intensity of a practice compared to a game that you just cannot simulate at all in practice. And then it's also the intricacies of the defense, of what the defense is giving you. In practice, the defense is really playing off cards. The coaches give the defenders cards that the offense works off of and against. But in a game, it's all the unknowns of what that defense is going to present to you. So with Deshaun Watson, having that step up, not a year or 2 years, 700 days, I mean, that is a long time to have, okay, now jump right into an NFL game and try to be in your prime. I would expect him to be rusty, look rusty, the offense to look rusty, not look as efficient and effective as it did in spurts under Jacoby Brissett. We won't even talk about the leadership aspect because I don't know what's going on behind the scenes there, if he's been a great leader or not. But just on the field, I would expect there to be some sort of growing pains with Deshaun Watson, not just magically go in there and be an MVP type level player.
And we're saying this as they get ready to face a Houston team that has been, to be blunt, barely competitive the last 2 weeks. Outscored 50-0 in the first half the last 2 weeks. And right now, with 1 win and 1 tie, holds the #1 overall pick next year. All right, Mark Ross, James Palmer, thank you both. Coming up tonight, it is the kickoff on Week 13. The Bills and the Patriots, the first one in New England. The second one is going to be in Buffalo, Week 18. We are streaming tonight, as we are, on Prime Video. As always, this is a rematch of, if you want to call it a rematch, the playoff game a year ago in which, hi there, Mike Giardi, hi there, Brian Baldinger, the Bills didn't punt, didn't attempt a field goal. Giardi, all they did was score touchdowns.
Yeah, all they did was score touchdowns in that game, and they also scored touchdowns in the game right after Christmas here. In fact, the Patriots haven't forced the Bills to punt since the first series of the third quarter of their first meeting last year. That's 20 possessions, includes a couple kneel downs in there, but that is outrageous. That is unacceptable for the Patriots. Adrian Phillips said we got our face kicked in. Jonathan Jones, who didn't play in those games, their defensive back, said it was like watching your little brother get into a fight and you couldn't help him. The Patriots got absolutely stomped, gave up 80 points in those last 2 games. So part of their focus this offseason was how to deal with Josh Allen, how to get faster. They tried to remake their linebacking core. Dante Hightower's not back. Kyle Van Noy's not back. But the problem is the guys that they brought in to be the faster, quicker guys, they haven't played as well as the thumpers like Jelani Tavai and Juwan Bentley. The one good thing for the Patriots is their secondary's played really well. Jack Jones is elevated. Marcus Jones, when he's got a chance, those are both rookies. They've played well. So the Patriots are going to need to do a good job on the back end because I would think Josh Allen has some time and certainly has the legs to make plays, Baldy.
He does, Mike. And look, I'm going to put an XO up here. And you know, it's going to show some of the strengths of the Patriots defense, led by Matt Judon, who's a certifiable candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, and how they build their defense around him. But it doesn't always apply to a team like Buffalo. But you watched him last week right here. He's so disruptive. But, like, even when he takes that chance right there, Mike, all the other guys bench pressing, got their arms free, they're getting off blocks, they're disengaging. They have, you know, a bunch of guys up front in Wise and Godchow and Guy. They're mercenaries. Their job is to tie up as many blockers as possible. They did this for much of Thanksgiving Day. They limited Dalvin Cook right here. And now you get McMillan with the run through because there's no lineman up on him. And that's how the defense is designed. And so those are good things to stop the run game. Devin McCourty, you mentioned, they're healthy on the back end. I think they're playing good defense on the back end. Like right here, he's a rat. And he's just reading the middle of the field. That's Justin Jefferson in his view. He takes Jefferson away, and that leaves Jones right here really free to look back at Kirk Cousins and take this ball away. I mean, their eyes are good. They're in the right places, and when they do that, you know, they're pretty good at taking the ball away and intercepting passes. I said that Judon is the key to the defense. Here, like, they're going to chip him, all right? And against Uche right here, they're going to chip him. And you like these. These guys are going to not let these guys out. Free releases, all right, before they get into the rush. All right, so they're going to slow those guys down. That's good. That's what happened on the interception. You couldn't get T.J. Hockenson. You couldn't get the tight end out right there, and T.J. and Dalvin. So that's a good thing. And then ultimately, like, Judon is just so good, and he's so disruptive that teams set their entire protection to him. They slide to him right here, and it gives Uche a chance to work one-on-one on the back end, and he wins against the backup left tackle here. That's what you want to happen. And so between their stunts and how teams are preparing for Judon, you got to take advantage of that. And you got to find other guys that can win, like Uche has won quite a bit against the Jets last week against Minnesota. You need that to continue to happen to apply pressure to the quarterback, Josh Allen, tonight.
Yeah, and let's not give this Patriots defense any less respect than it deserves. Baldy, you showed it there. They are fourth total, sixth in scoring, and they are top 10 against both the rush and the pass. Josh Allen deserves all the headlights, or rather the headlines. Can't even speak English today. But, yes, as you showed, this Patriots defense is playing well. Thank you, Baldy. Thank you, Mike Giardi, live there in Foxborough ahead of the kickoff on Week 13 and TNF. Let's get the insiders in here now. Tom Pelissero, Ian Rappaport. It's a big day off the field as well, not just in Foxborough, but in New York, as Odell Beckham Jr., Ian, is in the building.
After a month, more than a month, many months, many weeks, a lot of hours on the network talking about Odell Beckham Jr., his free agency, his knee, where he's going to visit. He's actually visiting a team today, the first of 3 visits that Beckham has lined up. He is with the New York Giants today, going to stay till tomorrow. He goes from New York/New Jersey to also New York to go visit the Buffalo Bills and, of course, hang out with his friend Von Miller, still recovering from that knee injury. Von Miller, the chief recruiter for the Bills, had a huge part in sort of securing this visit and making sure the Bills get a look. And then he's going to go home, spend Sunday watching football like the rest of us, then go visit the Dallas Cowboys. It is a little bit of a whirlwind for Beckham. It also puts him in a position where, assuming the physical goes well, and the knee injury obviously a huge part of this, he could get with the team, practice a little bit, and be ready for the stretch run, which is exactly how it worked out for Beckham last year with the Super Bowl champions.
The big difference being last year, Ian, at least Odell Beckham Jr. was practicing through the course of training camp and wasn't hyper involved in the Browns offense, but at least was on the field in some capacity. In this case, you're getting a 30-year-old wide receiver who's going to walk in the door at some point, we believe, in December. And the question becomes, how quickly can Odell Beckham Jr. assimilate and learn an offense, get the rhythm and timing and tempo he needs with his new quarterback, and actually make an impact on the field? We also know and have been saying that Odell Beckham Jr. potentially could be looking for a multi-year contract that could use the tail end here of 2022 to be the jump-off with a new team into 2023. Cap space then also, of course, is always going to be an issue here. The Bills, by the way, did clear a little bit of cap space this morning, restructuring Tre'Davious White's deal, but that was going to happen either way because they just didn't have a whole lot of cap space to work with, Andrew.
Tre'Davious White, who did get back on the field for the first time in a year on Thanksgiving, but played only 15 snaps and really didn't see the field after the first quarter. Let's get to Justin Fields. All the talk, Ian, obviously, about Aaron Rodgers, and he seems to be okay. He says he should be okay on Sunday. We'll find out more today if and when he does practice. Justin Fields, I think we've kind of overlooked this one a bit. Left shoulder, what's his status?
Well, he was limited yesterday. I would expect more of that today. Still dealing with partially torn ligaments in his non-throwing shoulder. And, you know, there are times when other athletes, other quarterbacks have had this in a non-throwing shoulder and have taken 2 or 3 weeks to come back. So the fact that he's still limited, maybe not a great sign that he'll be able to play, and also not a great sign they signed another quarterback. Tim Boyle ended up coming over to the active roster for the Chicago Bears, an indication that at least he will be active on game day. You wouldn't sign someone from someone else's practice squad unless you're going to have them active on game day. Maybe doesn't bode well for Justin Fields, but we'll see how he plays the week out and what his status is going forward.
Okay, then there's Lamar Jackson, Tom, as the Ravens get ready for the Broncos. Lamar left practice early yesterday with what the Ravens were calling a quad. Any injury update there?
Well, Andrew, the Ravens have begun practice at Owings Mills, and according to reporters on the scene, Lamar Jackson is back on the practice field and working. He came out about 15 minutes into practice, has joined and is participating in drills. That is a good sign for a player who in the past few weeks here has dealt with an illness, a hip, now a quad. Usually Lamar finds a way to play, though certainly with something we're going to be monitoring up until kickoff on Sunday against the Broncos.